Good evening and welcome to this lovely venue, our discussion this evening, which will deal with the Indian presidency, the upcoming Indian presidency at the G20, and how can the emerging world, the developed world, the developing world work together to put in place both policies and, of course, partnerships that can respond to the key challenge of climate change.
At Reliance, we believe in the philosophy of we care. Our commitment to social development issues and the way we do business are rooted in this essence of we care. Our chairman, Mukesh Ambani, has set an ambitious target for Reliance Industries to become net zero carbon by 2035. We are also aiming to transform how green energy is produced and consumed in India to equalize access to and enable transition to a green economy. Women transforming lives with technology in India. They highlight the tremendous potential of women.
मुझे आप सबसे मिलकर बहुत अच्छा लगा. It's Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the spirit of developing all together. India has the potential to be a game changer for Agenda 2030. During the pandemic, we saw the power of India's digital health platform, driving the world's largest vaccination program. The Panchamrit targets announced by Prime Minister Modi at COP26 are ambitious in meeting energy requirements through renewables by 2030. India has long supported multilateral efforts to address climate change, to build resilience. Bahut dhanyavad.
Private sector will have to be an important part also of the G20 presidency, because the fiscal situation in many nations is also quite difficult. So there is not that much additional resources to put on the table, either for ODA or other things to finance. So when the private sector can be also challenged to be part of alliances.
You know, this G20 imperative is absolutely the right question. It's got to be green growth and development for all, not either or. So the G20 does absolutely need to focus on how do we achieve those sustainable development goals. We've got 50 million people on the brink of famine across 46 countries. This week at the Transforming Education Summit, we learned that the majority of development finance actually comes from national governments themselves, private sector, and often from citizens themselves. So we need that sort of mixture of different financial resources as well as international investments. And if you don't have good infrastructure, your economy will never grow.
We still have a few months to go of the Indonesian presidency of the G20. Mm-hmm. And they are very consequential months because the summit has to take place in November. What's the big thought or big concern I have with G20? To borrow a phrase from American politics, I think it's very important to let G20 be G20. I'd say roughly this week I would have met about maybe 60 plus foreign ministers, 2/3 of them from the developing world. Yeah. Okay. And if there was a common concern that they had, and some of them were very, very expressive about it, the concern is that, you know, there's an energy crisis, there's a food crisis, there's a fertilizer crisis, there's a debt crisis, there's a climate crisis, and nobody is listening to them. Now, the G20 is the ideal body to listen to them. If you actually look, especially the last 3 years, I think really remarkable things have happened in India. I mean, I'll start with the most obvious one, the fact that you could actually get 2 billion short in the arms. And there was a big takeaway from this, which is the power of the digital.
Thank you to all of you for joining us today on what has been a very busy week with UNGA in New York this week. So we do appreciate your time in joining us. And as Samir said, we hope that this will become an annual India Day, and we hope to see you again next year.